Pauline, how are you today?
Hi, Sarah. I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you again. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Hi viewers, hi subscribers. It's us again, Shut the Cycle of Pain for another video. And today, again, we've got Pauline. Pauline is going to take us through the endometriosis, apparently. So the topic of the day is endometriosis. Can you probably just start by telling us a little bit of what is endometriosis, Pauline?
Okay.
Please.
So it's a bit of a wide topic, just because it comes in different form and shapes in different women. So it's basically a woman's chronic condition in which we have excess tissue growing in different parts. So it's actually the endometrial lining that is usually inside the uterus that grows where it doesn't belong. So it can grow in the bladder, the bowels, the kidneys. It can even go up to the lungs. It can just spread everywhere. And what happens typically is that usually during the time of the period, this is flushed out from the uterus.
Yeah.
But when it grows elsewhere, there is nowhere to go. So when the period starts, it kind of triggers the inflammation of those tissues. They have nowhere to go, so it starts hurting, and they keep getting inflamed, and over time they create scar tissues, so they kind of pile up. And you have those excess tissues that keeps getting inflamed every time that the period time comes. This is when everything starts to, the body is trying to flush out, and there is nowhere to go for those tissues.
Right.
So this is the big picture about endometriosis. It's different for every woman. It grows in different parts of the body, different organs for every woman. And the symptoms are different for everyone as well.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Okay, thanks for that. It's a bowel moment. Like, whoa, okay. Opening our understanding about it. So, you're going to tell us a little bit about your experience now, just walk us through the journey of having gone through endometriosis yourself.
Yes. So basically, I suffered from endometriosis from 2021 to 2024.
Right.
So it was 3 years, and I was lucky enough that I managed to put an end to it, because I know a lot of women, they live with it for a very long time. In my case, I developed endometriosis following an emotional situation. I would say an emotional shock, I want to call it. That was somehow directly connected to my feminine part. And so my emotions were stored in that part, and I kind of created endometriosis through my unresolved emotions. I'm going to put it that way.
So it's like body developing itself into that, isn't it?
Essentially, it's your body harming itself in a way.
Right. Okay.
So even though endometriosis has not yet been classified as an autoimmune disease, but it works in a very similar way. And recently I've seen some research that said that it might become an autoimmune disease, maybe, because it works in a similar way.
Yeah.
It's essentially your body attacking itself by growing tissues where they don't belong, and then it's harming the body, the organs. So,
just walk us through the journey of having gone through endometriosis yourself.
Yes. So basically, I suffered from endometriosis from 2021 to 2024.
Right.
So it was 3 years, and I was lucky enough that I managed to put an end to it, because I know a lot of women, they live with it for a very long time. In my case, I developed endometriosis following an emotional situation. I would say an emotional shock, I want to call it. That was somehow directly connected to my feminine part. And so my emotions were stored in that part, and I kind of created endometriosis through my unresolved emotions. I'm going to put it that way.
So it's like body developing itself
Yes.
into that, isn't it?
Essentially, it's your body harming itself in a way.
Right. Okay.
So even though endometriosis has not yet been classified as an autoimmune disease, but it works in a very similar way. And recently I've seen some research that said that it might become an autoimmune disease, maybe, because it works in a similar way.
Yeah.
It's essentially your body attacking itself by growing tissues where they don't belong, and then it's harming the body, the organs. So
increase your voice a little bit higher.
Okay. And I lost it. I don't know where I was.
So you were to say, what's your experience now? You tell us.
So I was on how I created it. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to that. So following an incident in my personal life, I started to develop endometriosis. Unfortunately, I kind of knew it was endometriosis, but it took the medical system 9 months to diagnose me.
9 months?
Yes. And this is when you are lucky, because I've heard stories of women who waited 4 years before they were diagnosed. I think that endometriosis is still not well understood by the medical system.
Okay, so maybe to just get a clarity on that, Pauline, when you're saying you're waiting 9 months before your diagnosis, it means at this time you are literally managing circumstances by yourself, whether it's through painkillers or anything. No. You'd probably just be taking painkillers at this point.
Because painkiller won't stop the pain.
No, it won't.
No.
Oh dear. So what do you do around that?
You're left by yourself, basically. Really? So what happened is that I realized that, I'll tell you a little bit of what happened. The first time I had an endometriosis flare-up, we call it.
Yeah.
I literally thought that I didn't know I was pregnant and I was giving birth. I was so scared. I had contractions and I thought, okay, what is going on? Did I not know I was pregnant and I'm giving birth?
So for sure you were pregnant, or this was just...
It was the endo contractions.
Pain.
Because what happens for some women is that you will get early labor contractions. It's literally like you're about to go and give birth, like the early part of the labor.
Right.
So I was a bit scared. I didn't know what was going on. The next day I went to the GP, inquired. They sent me home. Fast forward, I researched. I knew a lot about it through my studies of Ayurveda, which we will go back to later. But it took the medical system 9 months to send me for a blood test, for a scan, for everything.
You're joking, 9 months for blood tests.
And I kept going back and back. I'm not somebody who goes to the GP very often.
Okay.
But I needed to know what was going on in order to manage it. So that was hard because I was left. I even called the hospital a couple of times. I was told to take painkillers. trust me, there is nothing that can stop this pain. The same way you go into labor and you either need an epidural to stop it, or it's not a painkiller who's going to stop your labor pain.
Gosh, no.
So it's the same. So this is what happened initially with the beginning of the journey. Yes.
So, okay, so maybe someone who is watching at this point may want to really relate to what you're saying by really going through the symptoms, and are there particular symptoms that are, and maybe just to mention or to put it in mind that we are talking about the trauma-related endometriosis, right?
Yes.
So maybe it's important to highlight that not every experience is the same. People are different, and not all are caused also, so to say, not every incident of having endometriosis is trauma caused. Yeah, it could be more likely or commonly known.
We don't exactly know if it's
trauma caused. Yeah, I've done a little bit of research around it, and it's like there are some researchers. There's a lot that's done out there that's saying there's an association between physical and sexual abuse and endometriosis.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's the only cause of endometriosis, or are there any other, if you know more about that?
Yes, so it's not yet clear whether there are other causes to it than trauma.
Yeah.
What I know from my research as well and my personal experience is that it oftentimes comes from the trauma.
Okay.
It could be emotional trauma that is related to the feminine part. I will give an example just to give you an idea. It could be that somebody is trying to conceive and had multiple miscarriage, or not able to conceive at all, and they become so kind of over-focused on the problem that they might create endometriosis. It could be somebody who's gone through abuse, like sexual abuse, for example, and again, it's directly linked to this part of the body. So there are many reasons, and it's not yet clear whether there are other reasons that could be genetic, or it's not yet proven exactly what else could cause it. But a lot of women I came across developed it following a trauma.
Right, okay.
Some of them that I just mentioned. So this is from my experience in discussing these things with other women and my own experience. Sure.
Okay, yeah, so I think we've talked about that now. I don't know if you've mentioned any particular symptoms that are, maybe somebody may want to relate to what you're talking.
Yeah, there are so many that the list is endless, but and I had most of them, to be honest. So you have the contractions. So again, we're all different. We all have a different version of it, but the symptoms include contractions of the uterus, as if you were going to early labor. I even had, just a small story, I had one of my colleagues once she had a child before, and she was like, you don't know what you're talking about, you have no idea what early labor is, and so on. But actually the research, you can read it, it's actually there is a scale of what a person with endometriosis can go through, and one of the symptoms is early labor contractions.
Wow.
So it's been proven. Then in my case, I had a lot of nausea, migraine, I couldn't eat, so I would be hungry, but if I eat, I feel sick. So it was always a dilemma, shall I eat or shall I not? Because either way I'm not feeling well. But then I would sometimes be vomiting. I had, what else was there? obviously I couldn't sleep at night because of the pain. So in my case, the pain would last for 2 weeks every month. So because I had
Same pain, that
yes,
hard pain for 2 weeks.
yes, because I had endometriosis scar tissues in the bladder close to the urethra. It felt like having an urinary tract infection for 2 weeks a month. You know
The burning
you see the
sensation and all
feeling?
that.
Yeah, it was very similar to that. Hence why in the beginning I thought I had repeated UTI,
yeah.
but it was actually the scar tissues in the bladder. So I had this, I couldn't sleep. Most of the time for the 2 weeks I couldn't sleep. Then it would take me a week to recover. And then a week in which I was like, it's gonna come back in a week.
Yeah.
And I had developed very unhealthy mechanisms. I even went for a pain management CBT therapy to bring myself back to a more healthy way of dealing with things, because in that last week I would go shopping for the following 2 weeks. I would do everything, my food shopping, all my chores, everything, because I knew after that
coming. You can't
I was
do anything.
going to go back to hell for 2 weeks. So it really affected my mental health and my brain, the way my brain was functioning.
Yeah.
It was, when I look back, it's it's a bit scary, to be honest.
I can imagine. So was it, when you say the 2-week period, was that triggered by the periods?
Yes. So the first day of the period would trigger the inflammation in the body, because this is when you are meant to flush out those tissues, but the ones stuck in the bladder, bowels, they have nowhere to go. So it just triggers it. Once your period is over, it doesn't stop there, because the inflammation has to come down.
There, yeah. Okay.
So it would go on for 2 weeks straight.
Okay. Wow, that's painful. I cannot imagine someone going through that.
Very painful.
Yeah. So having all that, how did you get over it? Did you get some treatment around it, or how did you come about it?
So I first wanted to listen to the options that were offered, which were in a Western country. The options were the surgery. So the surgery would remove the scar tissues, but it won't address the root cause of the disease. So usually, oftentimes, if you go for surgery, then you have to go multiple times. It's on rare occasions somebody can go once, but usually you will be fine for a period of time, maybe like a year. If you're lucky, maybe a little bit more. But if you haven't addressed the root cause, then it's going to grow again.
So when you say when you're lucky, would that refer to maybe someone who's just realized that they've got this, or because I imagine if you've probably just had this chronic pain that you can't figure out how it starts, and you just go over that, you wouldn't really go down to the root of checking for endometriosis or anything like that in the first place, really, would you?
Yes, a lot of women stay undiagnosed because
at a later stage.
Yes. I was lucky because I had studied these things, and I kind of knew, and from the get-go, that it was a possibility. So I kind of directed the test, even though I had to wait for a long time, but I mentioned it again and again until they checked for it.
Okay, so it was actually your push going.
I said, this is endometriosis, I'm pretty sure it's endometriosis. And then the issue when you stay undiagnosed for some time is that it often comes as a package. So I then developed IBS symptoms and chronic fatigue. So it comes like with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
and then you have to deal with those as well. So the options were the surgery eventually, premenopause, so you could choose to go into menopause, early menopause.
Okay.
And another option was hormonal treatment, which was kind of similar because it would stop your period, it would manage your
so I
period.
was wondering, the hormonal period,
Yes.
hormonal treatment would be similar to perimenopausal type of thing.
A bit similar.
A bit similar.
Yes. Because one thing that I did mention during the symptoms conversation is that with the hormones, so when you suffer from endometriosis, your hormones are going up and down all the time, and this causes a lot of crying or mood swings or feeling down, sadness and that kind of thing. Irritable, you might feel irritable. It's really, really difficult to manage because you have no control over your hormonal levels at first. Then you can, over time, when you learn how to manage with food, with different things, but initially it's really hard because you come to a point where you think, I am crazy right now.
Right.
I'm crazy right now. It's just the hormonal imbalances.
Yeah, it's so all over the place.
The constant up and down, up and down. So that's a big part of endometriosis as well.
So just to expand on that a little bit, I guess my understanding is that as women, when we go into periods, we already would have those kind of mood swings.
Yes, it's worse, yeah.
So I guess that makes worse with endometriosis, right? Yeah, okay.
But it's kind of that times maybe 10 or so. So it's similar, but it's harder to manage, and also it's more often. So it's really hard to manage. When we have the time of the month, we know we might have a couple of days of up and down.
You feel a bit off and you don't want...
But with endo, it can come at any point. There's no regulation of the hormonal system, which makes it really hard.
I guess so. So how did you come about the treatment, if I could say?
So from the get-go, I said, okay, I cannot live with this for the rest of my life. It's excruciating. It's not something...
And there's no cure for it at the end of the day with the modern medicine.
Not that we know of in Western countries. But it's a very debilitating condition. And I wasn't ready to live with this for the rest of my life, because also it takes away all that you are as a woman.
Yeah, if you say 2 weeks in a month, that means like you only have 2 weeks to live your life, or never.
Exactly, or never. Yes, and in the end, I have to say that because maybe people will relate. I felt disgusted with myself as a woman, because my body also, you have to remember that when there is inflammation and it's not dealt with, the body will create excess water to take it down. Meaning that in my closet I had 2 sizes of clothing because I used to swell. So I had my normal size, and then when the inflammation was so high and the body was creating excess water to regulate, I would swell, like everything, my whole body. I would go 2 sizes up.
Really?
So I kept going up and down, and I was disgusted with myself. I couldn't recognize myself anymore. With hormonal imbalances come sorry to say, but you sweat more sometimes than you're used to.
Right.
Your
okay.
body, you feel like maybe your body smells differently.
Right.
I came to a point I was disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't feel like a woman anymore.
And you had it for 3
And
years.
psychologically, that was also hard.
I can imagine.
And I only had it for 3 years.
Well, 3 years was
a lot of women that I came across, I've been living with this for 20 years, 10 years. So I consider myself blessed and
yeah, you're lucky. Yes.
fortunate that I decided to explore other avenues. And I did find salvation.
Wow. Okay, tell us about that salvation. How did you go about it? Where did you get it?
As we know, as we heard a little bit during the first video together,
Yeah.
my background is in complementary therapies. I've been practicing yoga for many years, nearly 20 years now. And with this came the studies of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the traditional Indian medicine. It means the science of life or the knowledge of life. And it's mainly based on prevention, but it also cures when the disease is there. It's based on the nutrition, how you eat, some herbal supplements, herbal medicine, the treatments of the body and the 5 senses as well, the lifestyle, how you live your life, and the physical practice, which oftentimes is the physical practice of yoga, the asanas. And so I studied for a few years this medicine. And during the 3 years, I did try to manage, and thankfully, thanks to the food, the diet, and the supplements and everything, I was able to sort of keep it under control, if I can say. But it was not going away. So it came to a point where it was better, but it just wasn't going away. So last March 24, I went to India. So I usually travel to India every year, once or twice, depending. I just went on a mission to find a clinic or an Ayurvedic clinic or hospital to seek advice and see if something could be done. And I did find a few, and believe it or not, over there, if you talk about endometriosis, this is something that is known, this is something that they talk about, this is something that they cure. I was really surprised. I knew, but I was surprised how...
It was just a common thing and they can deal with it.
It was a common thing. It was a common thing for them. And I visited a few clinics and everybody said the same thing. We can cure this. I was like, okay. And it was kind of my last hope because I had tried a lot of things. So I decided on one. And I went back 6 months later, not even, maybe 5 months later, for a month in one of the Ayurvedic clinics that I would like to name, if that's okay. It's called Agni Ayurvedic Village in Mumbai. And I want to mention it because not only they took care of my body, but of my mind a lot. And they have supported me so much with what I went through, that they gave me my life back, and
that's what you call it, a salvation.
They gave me my life back. I've been 5 months, for 5 months now, I've been free of endometriosis, and I can do things again because I couldn't go out anymore. I had developed this phobia of being far from home.
Because you don't know what would be like.
I was thinking, if I get on the train and then I can't come home because most of the time I was on the floor. Crying of pain, and that kind of thing. So I had no social life anymore. I couldn't see my friends anymore. I couldn't go to the restaurant. I couldn't go to the coffee shop. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
It literally squeezes you down to just one place.
I still walked. The only thing that I was doing is go to walk. Sometimes the 10 minutes journey on the bus to walk was a mission. Yes, I had to kind of contract my muscles and try to, put on a face. So they gave me my life back.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the contractions on your muscles and all that. How did that?
Yeah, so the contractions in the uterus, it was so sharp, the pain was so sharp that I was constantly contracting my muscles. One time I had my credit card in my hand, I almost broke it because I would grab anything. I would grab you. I would grab anything around me to hold on
to.
You know, when you go into labor?
You just stay in one position for a while until it goes and then...
So because I was doing this for 3 years in a row, 2 weeks a month, every day, my muscles were constantly contracted and tensed.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So, and then obviously I had a lot of pain all over my body because of that as well. And I had inflammation. So when the inflammation started with the tissues and everything, it was also going down to sometimes my knees, my ankles, all the joints, parts of the body. So yeah, that was a big...
I guess that's what we could relate it to trauma pain, isn't it, really? Because all of this that's happening to you is stored somewhere within your body.
Yeah, and I think that on top of what caused the endometriosis, the endometriosis itself became a trauma, because every time that I knew I was approaching the date of the flare-up, it became a trauma. It's in itself.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you had psychological effects on thinking that it's coming.
Yeah, my mental health was an absolute mess at the time.
Yeah.
Absolute mess. I did a pain management CBT that was very, very helpful. They helped me to walk around what I was going through, and it was a big relief when I did this in the first place.
I can imagine.
Yes, because with my fears of approaching the flare-up, I was actually making it worse.
Yeah, because then it's not helping. Your brain's already so super scared.
So I was in this cycle. I was in this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see the exit point.
Yeah.
And I was going round and round every single month.
Oh, wow.
So, and like I said, it was only 3 years. Some people, they stay with this for so long.
You mentioning 3 years, for me, I'm listening to that and I feel like you can't have labor pain for 3 years. No way. It's so painful. That is so painful.
Not everyone have it like this. Not everyone get the contractions.
Yes, okay.
The symptoms are very different from a woman to another one.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of other women who have experienced it the same way that I did. So
I guess there's this common symptom that is associated with pain anyway.
Oh yeah, the pain is there. Whatever you do, there is some sort of pain.
And the way you describe it as an early labor pain every 2 weeks, that itself is just...
The thing is, over time, this is what happened to me, but over time, with the length of time of the contractions and the regular pattern, my uterus got displaced, kind of thing. So it moved around and I could feel that something was not right. My pelvic floor was affected because obviously the body constantly trying to push something out, but there's nothing to come out.
Yeah.
The pelvic floor muscle got damaged. I mean, it's something you can recover from, but it was damaged for a long time because of that. There was too much strain on it over time, you know. So it caused the organs to be displaced and that kind of thing as well. So it's quite serious.
You're describing that, and I think it's my psychological effect of me listening to you. I am feeling like, oh, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, I cannot imagine people suffering from this that long. Yeah,
Yes.
but good news, if there is
Good
somewhere
news.
that there's that kind of treatment, then
Yes. So the message that I want to communicate today to the followers, anyone who's listening and can relate and cannot find the exit point, is that there are ways, and I'm not saying that my way is everybody's way, because we are all different. We all react and respond, our bodies, mind respond to different things.
Yes, yes.
But what I want to say today is that there are options, there are other avenues. I'm going to share a personal opinion that comes from my experience and my observation, is that a chronic condition needs, in order to cure a chronic condition, you have to address the body and the mind. The body, the mental state, the emotional state. You need to see a person as a whole.
Yeah, a holistic picture of everything, really.
So the issue we are coming across here in Western countries is that it's very much focused on the body and how it functions. But unfortunately, when it comes to chronic disorders, it's not enough. And also, from my experience, there is no support whatsoever out there on the psychological side.
Right.
I was lucky to have this CBT course of 6 sessions, but otherwise, I haven't come across any peer support groups, anywhere where I could go and talk to somebody who can understand me, because I felt like an alien.
Yeah, and nobody really relates to what you're talking about.
Everyone was like, oh, this is just bad period pain.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
No.
Nothing to do with period pain. So I just want to say that it's worth exploring other avenues, other options. I did find salvation in an Ayurvedic treatment that is called Panchakarma. Panch means 5 and karma actions. And it was all about, I'll just give you a brief description so you know. It was all about, first of all, cleansing the body from all the toxins accumulated over time. And this means not just physical but emotional toxins, emotional things that were stored in the body. So there was a lot of work done around the body itself, and like massaging the body, trying to get the muscles to relax. And then there was cleansing of internal cleansing through practices that are not pleasant, but after you've lived with endometriosis for 3 years, there was some vomiting involved, some colon cleansing, and the diet, and some herbal supplements as well, and a massive support in terms of the psychological side. So there was a lot of meditation, breathing practice, the physical practice of yoga asanas. It was a whole thing around the mind, body and spirit all together for 3 weeks. It could have been longer, but I couldn't stay much longer, but luckily it worked. It's magic.
Wow. Woo, that's been a journey.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey. And I'm glad you've come to the other end of the tunnel.
And I want to thank you for this opportunity, because it's actually the very first time that I talk about it for an audience. I have shared my story time to time with women that I came across who were suffering from the same issues. But it's actually the first time that I have the opportunity to, share that with a wider audience.
And I'm pretty sure someone somewhere may relate to this, because I mean, I had endometriosis when I was younger, but when I talk about being young, it's maybe 10, 15 years ago. Obviously, I was younger.
You were
So
young.
yeah, talking of that, I feel I really didn't have so much understanding of it, I'd say, or I didn't put so much effort to know more because I felt like I didn't know how it comes about, and I didn't, I felt like maybe it's like initially I thought it's associated with menopausal phase of life. So I said, you know what, I'll probably meet it there when I grow up. But then knowing that it can happen at any time.
Oh yes, you can have it very young. So it's I think it's not very much spoken about.
No, it's not much spoken
It's
about.
very much misunderstood still.
Yeah.
Hence why there is a massive lack of support.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard. You feel very isolated with your condition.
Yeah.
And it's a really tough journey. And I'm sure it's the same with other chronic conditions. It's not just endometriosis. A lot of the chronic conditions are really hard to deal with. You feel very isolated. People don't necessarily understand you or why your behavior has changed and why you live in a survival mode 24/7. So I suppose my message today to the audience is a message of hope.
Right.
That you can find the right thing for you. You'd have to either go to what calls you, like whatever you resonate with. For me, it was an evidence that I was going to go towards Ayurveda. But you could have other beliefs. You could come from a country where you have traditional medicine. A lot of countries in Africa are known for treating these things. Yes, a lot of countries in Africa, they know how to manage these things. Other countries who have like the Chinese medicine, there are many options out there that you can explore. It's all about exploring your options. Because if you stick to what you're told in Western countries, you can feel very discouraged. You can think that there's no hope, there's no way,
you're
nowhere
living
to
constant
go
pain
from there.
forever.
So I just want to say that I am a living proof that it's possible. I got my life back, and I hope that I can encourage and support women to find their salvation.
Yes, great. I feel like there are quite a few ideas that are popping in mind, and I think peer support group would be a very good idea to start with, maybe to support someone who is going through this now or knows somebody who is going through this. I think that could be something that we could do from this
100%,
session.
100%.
Yeah. And again, maybe every other thing may follow on, but to begin with, we're available. We could be reached out on WhatsApp as usual, and our numbers will be there where you could just reach out to us and start it up from there. I'm happy to really look forward to start a peer support group for endometriosis sufferers, or I don't want to call it sufferers because you feel like you continue suffering. Survivors.
Warriors.
Oh, there we go.
Endo Warriors.
All right,
Peer support group. You know what? The peer support group is something that I was lacking and I was craving for. So I would love to be able to offer that to other women.
Great. Well, that's really good news. Thank you so much, Pauline. I feel
Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share this.
This is really useful, and personally I'm learning a lot as you continue talking about it, and I can't wait to hear other people's experiences, especially after this session. So we've come to an end of this session now, unless if there's anything that you think you haven't talked about and you want to tap on. Okay. But otherwise, thank you so much, Pauline. That's really very kind of you to share this, because it's personal.
I feel honored to be able to share it, and we could talk about it all day long. There's so much to say, but this is the peer support we're before talking about it and
Brilliant.
you know,
Yes.
sharing experiences and things like that.
Voila, we are doing well then. I'm looking forward to this peer support group started soon. Thank you very much, viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you, followers and subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do so because there's a lot coming. I'm not going to say what's coming up next, but obviously it's interesting. We're coming back with another topic that's quite interesting very, very soon.
Sure.
And we'll have a shot on it on our channel, so don't worry, you won't miss out anything. Just subscribe and you will see us in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.